Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stiltori, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last year or so, I've been featuring each Vigeois or King's daughter and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them, so we have a long way to go. We are currently on episode 143. We've come a long way, actually, since last year. Today, we are featuring episode 143, and her name is Marie Lelong. So we are going to get to know her. But before we do that, I want to show you how you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and click on the notify. The next three are ways to help the channel grow. Ko-fi, Etsy, and Patreon are all ways of showing your support. So you can have a look at that in the notes section. Greatly appreciate that. Let's get started, okay? So today's video episode 143, Marie Lelon, is one that was suggested by a viewer. I do not have her in my files, so this was a real treat to get to know Marie. So Marie would have been from Rennes, which is found in the region of France called Brittany, and in the département. We remember the département means county or county in our language. Ille-et-Vilaine is where it is. So you can kind of figure it out that it's like really inland. It's not on the coast, if you will. And Rennes itself is a very, very historic city dating back at least 2,000 years. And her parents, by the way, were Maître Lelon and Perrine Moret. The church where she would have been baptized, the Toussaint Church, was actually the first stone was laid on the 16th of July, 1624. So when she was baptized in 1648, it was still a fairly new church. It's just amazing to me. The Bishop of Rennes himself, laid that first stone. So she came from a very, very distinguished and very culturally sound place with a great deal of history. So she brought that history with her to New France. Upon her father's death, she would embark on the program Les Filles du Roi, and she sailed on the Prince Maurice on July 30th, 1671, arriving in Quebec with a dowry worth about 300 pounds. Now, who did she select and who selected her? Let's get to know the groom. So the groom that she would select and who selected her, his name was René Dumas de Rencontre. Rencontre means meeting in French, and so it'd be interesting to know how he got that name. He was born in 1651 in the city of Tours, France, which is part of the Centre Val de Loire region of France, and it is found in the département of Indre-et-Loire, so you can kind of situate it where it is. His parents were Claude Dumas and Françoise Léger. Now, Tours currently has about 136,000 people, so it is a real city, and it has existed since the Gaelic times, as it was part of the Roman Empire during the 1st century AD. The church where Renee was most likely baptized is that of Sainte Croix and can be dated back to the 11th century. Just amazing. Just the picture on the right. And then on the left, that is the church that he probably was baptized, and I can't confirm it. If anybody has any info on that, please put it in the comments below. So how did Rene come to New France? Well, as so many did before him, he came with the Carignan Regiment. He came with the Gagne Company. He arrived in Quebec on August 17, 1665. But here's the deal. If you remember in the previous slide, I said he was born about 1651. He was 14 years old. I mean, just amazing, amazing. And I know, it's a different time and place, but can you imagine a 14-year-old boy, being a soldier going off to New France? So that gives you some idea of his courage. So on October 12th, 1671, René and Marie were married in Quebec City, and that is their marriage record. So that is, he would have been something like not even 20, I think, at that point. So it's just interesting just how much he was able to to accomplish in a very short amount of time, because he landed at Quebec City, and he would have been here in 1665, not until 1671. So we're looking at 6 years. He would have been about 20. Just amazing. Amazing what he probably, got a job and did, just kind of working his way up, if you will. So the family would eventually settle at La Prairie, and La Prairie, which means the meadow, is the Seigneurie of Prairie de la Magdeleine, which was granted to the Jesuits in 1647. And 20 years later, they founded the Saint François Xavier des Prés mission, and it's one of the oldest in Montreal. La Prairie was important for many reasons, notably for the defense of Montreal, with the erection of a palisade. A palisade is typically a fence or defensive wall made from iron or wooden stakes. The Battle of La Prairie in 1691 was a major success for New France, as they were able to overcome the British attack and send the British packing back to New York. The palisade was credited for helping them defend their city. After the conquest, the British settled at La Prairie and took over the business sector. The Canadian Railroad establishment in 1836 further fueled this growth. So this is the area that they chose to settle in, and I suspect he was given land based on his military service. This is a picture on the right here of the it's right on the shore of the St. Lawrence, and then an aerial view of La Prairie as it exists today. They would have 9 children. Their firstborn, Françoise, would pass away sometime after the 1681 census. René probably died in infancy. Anne would marry Louis Bertrand Opéré and had 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Jeanne would marry François Dumont and had 3 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. She then married Louis Perrier and had 3 more children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Louise married Bernard Rouffillage and had 7 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marianne married François Monet and had 6 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Pierre married Marie Demar de Dumais and had 11 children, but only 4 survived. Marie-Louise married Jérôme Longtin and had 7 children, all of whom made it. And we have finally François, who died at the age of 1. And then you can see the 1681 census, where it says René Dumas, 30 years old, Marie Lelon, his wife, 30, his children, Marie, which would be Françoise, Anne, Jeanne, Louise. They have 1 gun, un fusil, 2 vaches, 2 cows, and 7 arpents à valeur, so about 5 to 6 acres of land. Heartbreak. Marie would pass away at the tragic age of 41. It's thought that she died of the smallpox epidemic that was occurring at that time, and she would die on December 14th, 1687. Just tragic. And she is buried at La Prairie. Now the story will continue on episode 144 as René finds a new love. So, some further research for you all. La Société des Filles du Roi, the Quebec Genealogical E-Society, Nos Origines, Généalogie Québec, Migration, and Facebook. All of these are amazing sites that really are focused on Filles du Roi, and of course Quebec Genealogy, 2 of them, but really will help you dig deep into your research. And I've posted the links in the notes section for you. And so ends episode 143. Meanwhile, Marie's life was cut short. I mean, she and René would have, by 1729, would have 85 descendants, which is no small feat, and obviously still has descendants to this day. And we honor her sacrifice, ultimately her life, and what she gave to us, and her bravery for coming to New France and for helping not only Quebec grow, but La Prairie, being one of the first pioneers. And to her, we owe a debt of gratitude. So thank you, Marie Lelon. We bless your memory and we thank you for your contribution. And until I see you on episode 144, au revoir.